The Aaron Cohen Show is sponsored by the Cherries Deep Concealment holster. This is the same holster I trained Keanu on for the John Wick franchise. This thing runs BWB, or below the waistband, means there is zero digging into your gut, and this holster will never fall off you because it runs below the waistband. Also, lightning fast draw with just a little bit of training. Hit the link down in the description to order one of these bad boys. They ship next day. Zero lead time with these things now. They ship next day. Lightning fast draw. Fits all double stacked 9 and 40 Glocks. Fully adjustable clip and ambidextrous lefties. You're covered. Hit the link down in the description. Grab one of these bad boys. And finally, carry with comfort and total concealment. For decades, the world has been asking the wrong question. They keep talking about a two-state solution, ceasefires, peace talks, but none of this addresses the real issue. The real issue isn't land. It isn't borders. It isn't even the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. The real issue is radicalization. Palestinians have been raised on a steady diet of jihad, martyrdom, and Jew hatred. And from birth, they're taught that Israel must be destroyed and that terrorism is the highest honor. And that's the problem. And until you fix that, there is no peace process. There's no coexistence, just another generation of radicals being groomed for terrorism. Now, there's a new idea on the table. Trump administration is in talks with the government of Tirana, Albania, about relocating up to 100,000 Gazans while Gaza is rebuilt. Trump originally threw this at Jordan and Egypt, and they refused to host refugees for fear that they are too dangerous. And they claim that options like Albania and Indonesia are more feasible. The media immediately called it inhumane and ethnic cleansing. But I want to be real here. This could be the only chance at breaking the cycle of radicalization. And here's the key question. Can a radicalized society be de-radicalized? The answer is yes. We've done it before. After World War II, the Allies completely dismantled Nazi ideology in Germany, and today Germany is one of the strongest democracies in the world. And if it can be done with the Nazis, it can be done with Hamas. And so in this episode, I'm going to be talking about the real path, the only path forward, de-radicalization. Why Hamas is the reason Palestinians are trapped in an open-air prison. Why Arab nations have refused to help their own people, and why Trump's new plan, whether relocation to Albania, Indonesia, or another host country, will actually be the smartest strategy to finally end the crisis and to help free the Palestinian people from Hamas. So the left loves calling Gaza an open-air prison. All these nutbags running around saying it's just not true. Go look at the footage of Gaza before October 7th. But let's ask the real question. If it was an open-air prison, who's the warden? Hamas took control of Gaza in 2007 and immediately turned it into a terrorist state. And they don't govern. They don't build schools, hospitals, or businesses. They exist for one reason: to wage war on Israel. It's in their charter. And every piece of international aid that comes in is stolen. We've seen videos, countless videos for the last 14 months. Every UN shipment of food and medical supplies diverted for terrorism use. Meanwhile, Hamas leaders lived in luxury in Qatar before they were assassinated by Israel with their private jets and their millions of international aid while their own people were starved. And if you spoke out against them, you're dead. In fact, we just saw a video of Hamas executing alleged collaborators in Gaza. 6 Palestinians were shot in the head for supposedly spying for Israel. 17 more were shot in the feet for raising prices. That's not government. That's a death cult. And Hamas is physically preventing civilians from leaving Gaza. They've been doing it throughout this war. They built a vast tunnel network for their fighters, but left the civilians totally exposed. And when Israel tries to evacuate the civilians, Hamas blocks them at gunpoint so that they can't move. So if Gaza is an open-air prison, Hamas is the prison guard. And yet the international community and all the watermelon idiots running around there and all the terrorist sympathizers and Jew haters keep demanding for ceasefires that only allows Hamas to reload for the next war. And so the Trump administration is now in talks with the Albanian government about relocating up to 100,000 Gazans while Gaza is rebuilt. And so why Albania? Why Indonesia? Because Egypt and Jordan have made it clear they won't take refugees. Ask yourselves why. That means looking at new solutions. Albania, which has hosted refugees before, is looking like it could potentially be a real possibility. But of course, the media lost their minds. They called it ethnic cleansing, a war crime, inhumane. They want the Palestinians to stay exactly where they are, under Hamas control, radicalized, and being used as pawns as they're being sent back up into the northern part of Gaza to be used as human shields. So let's actually break down the facts here. First, Albania has the capacity. The country has previously accepted Syrian refugees and hosted NATO operations. It's a secular Muslim majority country with the ability to absorb displaced Gazans without them getting radicalized even further. Secondly, this would crush Hamas. Hamas thrives on using civilians as human shields. Remove the civilians, Hamas loses its biggest weapon. Let me say that again. Hamas's biggest weapon, the human shields and the propaganda. No human shields, no justification for war. Third, this benefits the host countries. And if the U.S. and the Gulf states and even Israel offered billions of infrastructure, housing, and jobs, why wouldn't Albania or Indonesia take it? These people are actually really hardworking, and these countries could actually benefit from that workforce. So, Aaron, question, has a radicalized society ever been successfully de-radicalized? The answer is yes. In fact, after World War II, Germany was a broken country. Millions of people had been indoctrinated under Nazi ideology and propaganda. The Allies knew that if they didn't wipe out the mindset, another war was inevitable, so they implemented denazification. Aaron, what did that look like? They purged Nazi officials from government, banned the Nazi symbols, rewrote the school system, and exposed the horrors of the Holocaust to the public. The Marshall Plan, which is what it was called, rebuilt the economy, giving Germans a future that wasn't tied to extremism. And today, Germany is one of the most stable democracies in the world. They're an incredible country. And they went from genocidal regime to thriving Western nation. And if it can be done in Nazi Germany, it can be done with Hamas-controlled Gaza. But it has to start with removing the extremists. So this isn't just a war on terrorism. This is a war on the radical ideology, the radical Islamic ideology that controls Gaza. And if you don't fight that war, the next generation of terrorists already being raised in Gaza is going to be bred into a whole new era of terror. And so I want to close it out with this. The world has spent decades pretending that the Israeli-Palestinian conflict is about land. Let me make this very clear. It is not. It's about radicalization. And until you break that cycle, you will never have peace. And if Germany could be de-radicalized, then why not Gaza? Hamas controls Gaza like a terrorist state. They indoctrinate their people, execute their own civilians, and keep them locked in a permanent state of war. The only way forward is de-radicalization, and that starts by removing the Palestinians from Gaza while they rebuild, re-educating them into a moderate sect of Islam, and allowing Gaza to be rebuilt. And if you're still playing this garbage humanitarian game with Hamas, you're not saving lives. You're prolonging the war, and you're fueling their terror machine. And the media won't tell you this, and the politicians won't admit this, but I will. So if you're tired of mainstream corporate media's lies and want the real truth about Israel, counterterrorism, the Middle East, do me a favor, hit subscribe, share this episode, and drop a comment. Also, if you're a fan of the show, do me a favor, hit the link down in the description and help support the show by becoming a Season 1 sponsor. Grab yourself a mini sponsorship kit. Helps keep the lights on in the studio and allows me to keep fighting that garbage anti-Israel misinformation while bringing you guys cutting-edge analysis of the Middle East counterterrorism and Israeli special operations and U.S. national security. Appreciate you guys and appreciate you watching this episode. Going to come back to this one as this one continues to unfold. I want to thank you guys for watching. I'm Aaron Cohen. You're watching The Aaron Cohen Show, and I will catch you guys soon on the next one.